Corey Conners has a great history at the Valero Texas Open, winning 2 times, and he's had a very good start to his PGA Tour season. His last 3 starts, 3 consecutive top 10 finishes. So he's rounding into form in a big way. Mark, how high are your expectations for Corey Conners, not only this week at the Valero Texas Open, but next week at the Masters?
Yeah, it's hard not to like Corey Conners because we're kind of coming through a stretch of golf where it's not a putting contest, right? You look at courses like Bay Hill, um, certainly the Players Championship at Sawgrass, and definitely when we get to the Masters in a week's time, it's really about ball striking. It's about keeping the golf ball on the proper side of the hole, hitting a lot of greens in regulation, keeping it hole high. Those are the things you do well to top 20, maybe top 10. What kind of gets me really excited, and Bob, I know I don't want to say we've talked this to death, but the difference between a T6 for Corey Conners and donning a green jacket is really being, a stroke and a half to 2 strokes better with the putter after 4 days, not having 1 day weeksy where he kind of goes to the negative side of strokes gained putting. So my attitude feels different right now, Bob, on the next step, not the top 10, but the next step because of the new putter in the bag and the way he's talking about that new putter.
Yeah, and I think, first of all, you look at the Valero Texas Open, he's 50 under there in combined in his last 5 starts. That gives you a good feeling. He's got this new putter that he's been putting in the bag, and I think I've gone over this before, but just one more time. Essentially, when he's been putting, he sort of putts up on the ball and he hits the top, say, 2/3 of the ball. He wants to hit he wants to hit it right in the middle of the face, right in the equator of the golf ball. And so Ping has designed this new putter for him that's working very, very well. He feels very confident about it. And I think as we all know, putting is I think 10% performance and 90% confidence. And if he is confident with the putter as he's shown over the last few weeks, he's not doesn't have to be great. He doesn't have to be Brad Faxon on the greens or anything like that. But with the rest of his game, if he can be just a little bit above mediocre, it could go a long way. And I think that's why I'm so bullish right now on Corey Conners' performance at the Masters.
Corey Conners had a great season so far. Now, Corey Conners and Taylor Pendrith have been linked, well, pretty much throughout their entire careers. And Pendrith is coming off his best finish on the PGA Tour this season, a T5 last week in Houston, his third top 10 of the season. And Bobby's heading to Augusta National next week. It'll be his first appearance at the Masters of his career. We know how hard it is to win in your first time at Augusta National. Obviously, Fuzzy Zoeller, the only player to do that. But for Taylor Pendrith, how high are your expectations for him after what you saw this past week?
Yeah, they got a lot higher when I saw his putting stats. I mean, I think he was eighth in putting for the strokes gained putting for the week, and I love the fact that he's starting to roll it. Now, again, out west, he's not a great fan of the grass out there. He's more comfortable playing back in the east side of the country, and so we should start to see that putters get up to where he was last year, where he was inside the top 10 in strokes gained putting for the year. That's the big key. I mean, there's so much excitement about it. There's so much new about going to Augusta National. And it's not just the downhill putts or the speedy putts. You've got to have enough nerve to hit the uphill putts firmly on these greens. And that'll take some getting used to. So I don't know, Mark, what you think. I know there's a lot more to Taylor Pendrith's game, but I don't know. He feels like he could be somebody who could be a fast learner.
Yeah, it's interesting what you just said there, Bob, because if it's that fast above the hole, it has to be as equally slow from beneath the hole. And switching that gear in your brain and knowing when to play aggressive and knowing when to back off, I think are is one of the main nuances and keys to your point, Weeksy, of as to why it's so hard for these guys to play well there the first time, because it keeps you on the ropes, that golf course, for so long. It keeps you on defense for so long that sometimes you forget, here's my opportunity to take that shot. Now, the players that have been around there so long and have done well there over the years and kind of figure out the formula, so to speak, They know that. And, we almost know it in a way from sitting back and watching it and covering it all these years, but being in there between the ropes and experiencing it and knowing when to be aggressive are two different things. I love the fact that he finished in the top 10 strokes gained putting for the first time this season on the PGA Tour. He's figuring it out, the flat stick again. Things are coming around. I think Taylor Pendrith is a strong enough player to play well anywhere. The one thing that bothers me just a little bit is I think he is a great overall driver of the golf ball. That's accuracy, distance, flighting, finding different windows. I wonder if that's more performance skill set for a U.S. Open than it is for Augusta National. We will see. But yeah, I would not surprise me right now. I think any of our Canadians in this field, with all due respect to obviously Mike Weir, who's in there in a very different capacity. If Penrith, Taylor, and Connors all played well, it would not surprise me, all for very different reasons.
It would be awesome to see all three Canadians play well. And for Pendrith in particular, for a guy who's played in the President's Cup twice before, contended in the U.S. Open last year, wouldn't be surprised at all to see Taylor Pendrith in the mix next weekend at Augusta National.